Hey everybody, welcome to Beyond Local, episode 33. I'm Jeff Kimmel, the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for LSEO, and with me today is none other than Mark Dymond, our Director of Paid Media.
Hey everyone.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We're back again, a dynamic duo, Batman and Robin. I'll let you decide who's Batman, who's Robin. But we're at it again here for another highly relevant podcast. So something that's going to happen very soon, if it didn't already start to happen, I'm sure you're going to let me know. Something that's happening with Apple's iOS 14 and the privacy that goes along with that. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, definitely. So Apple's new iOS 14 update, there's a lot that's going on with the social side as far as advertisers are concerned. There's a lot that advertisers have to be aware of, and then there's going to be some changes that they have to make too. Basically, the download is, if you've been following the two companies, there's been a lot of back and forth on, being tied to users' privacy versus ad targeting options.
Okay, so that's going to have a major effect, like you said, on social. Probably the biggest impact will be on Facebook.
Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. And I think, I've been following it a little bit on how it's going to impact that, but why don't you elaborate a little bit further on how it's going to impact our Facebook?
Yeah, sure. So basically the biggest update for iOS 14 is when someone installs a new app. Regardless of the app, it's going to do two things. It's going to prompt the user that they're made aware of what the app's going to track, and then it's going to open up a permission to opt in to be tracked. So right now it doesn't do that. Right now you could opt in or opt out, but it's going to be very in your face. The person is going to have to expressively opt into the tracking options. If we had to guess, I'm going to assume that the masses aren't going to allow them to be opted into the tracking as far as Facebook's concerned.
Now, so they would still be able to utilize everything. They could just choose not to opt in, right?
Exactly. And why that's an issue for the Facebook is Facebook relies very heavily on pixel information, and that will affect, ad targeting. It'll affect remarketing. There's a lot that it affects into the accounts itself, but Facebook relies very heavily on that information. So if someone opts out of it, then there's a data loss and a data disconnect that advertisers then can't use to have more optimized ads.
Okay. So there's probably a lot of things advertisers use to measure the effectiveness of their ads. This is going to impact that?
It is. So there's a couple of updates for it. First of all, the specifics of what it's going to affect is, first, it's going to affect the attribution model. So right now on Facebook and even Instagram, because Instagram's just a placement on the Facebook network, if the default is 28 days, there's a 28-day window. So if someone clicks on the ad and within 28 days they did something like filled out the form or went to the thank you page, Facebook's going to take credit for it. Same thing there's with a 28-day view. If they viewed the ad within 28 days, Facebook's going to take credit for it. The 28-day attribution model is going away. The 7-day view-through model is also going to go away. So the attributions right now are going to be the 7-day click-through window. So they clicked on the ad, and within 7 days they performed whatever the task is. Facebook will take credit for it. Or the 1-day view-through model. So they viewed the ad, and within a day, if they completed the action, whether they went to the website themselves or anything along those lines, and they went to the thank you page, that'll count as well. So overall, that really does change how tracking is going to be affected on the Facebook side, because it's going to change how many conversions each ad account is going to get. Again, the default was 28 days for the view through or the click through, and now it's the 7-day click through, 1-day view through. So right off the bat, you'll see changes as far as how many conversions you get, and that'll affect the cost per leads, the view, the conversion rates, and all of that as well. Also, certain reports are only going to have partial reporting because of the new 8 conversion limit per pixel.
Okay. I'm going to ask you about that in a second, but before we get into, what that 8 conversion limit is, how aware are advertisers about this change, do you think, right now?
I'd say if you follow if you follow the industry, right, you're definitely aware. Agencies, they know it's coming. It's been talking about. Apple gave us warning last year that it would eventually happen. Now it's happening. If you're just a business owner that advertises on Facebook or advertises on Instagram, you're probably missing it. It's not in the top headlines or anything. This is a really important information. I assume in a couple of months here, there's going to be a bunch of business owners that are like, what the heck is going on with my Facebook ads? Like, they used to perform really well, but now the conversions are off. The cost per leads through the roof. I'd say the average business owner, it's probably not on their radar, which is why we're discussing it today, just to make sure everyone knows about it, can be informed about it, and then make the correct changes just to make sure that they're using the best practices.
Great. Yeah. So if you know any small business owners who's running their own Facebook ads,
or anyone running Facebook ads, anyone at all.
True. And they haven't seen this podcast, make sure you get it over to them, because this is going to help them out a lot.
Right.
But what is the 8 conversion limit you were referring to?
So right now, the way it's set up is everything is pixel based, and you could have an unlimited amount of conversions you want. Maybe with to a certain degree, they cap it off, but you could have a lot of conversions on your Facebook, whether that be an add to cart, a page view, purchase, custom conversions, meaning you have specific thank you landing pages that you all want to track. Going forward, it's limited to 8 per domain. So 8 conversions total. You can't have any more than 8, regardless of how big your brand is. It could be a huge global brand. You have 8 per domain. That's what it is going forward. Those 8 conversion events will also be ranked based on the priority of the actual conversion itself. So again, how I was saying that the certain reports will only have partial reporting. What that specifically means is, let's say you have both add to cart and purchase as an event that you want to track, right? So you have maybe two add to carts and like a purchase right now showing in your dashboard. It's only going to show the purchase event going forward because it's the higher priority. It's a higher priority of the metric. So that kind of sucks, because right now the way that I see the ads is, let's look at it from like the customer journey, right? So if we know that people are adding to cart, so that's the first step. But then if they get to they start the checkout, that's the second step. But if there's not the purchases there, then we know that there's a disconnect somewhere in that funnel. Well, if we're only able to see the purchases, we won't be able to find out where that disconnect starts. So that kind of limits advertisers on finding out where that disconnect starts. So you have to really understand the pixel just to make sure everything is set up from like the best practices as far as like an e-commerce or anything like that is concerned as well.
Wow. Okay. That's major.
Yeah.
And so there is something happening with the Facebook pixel. Now it's going to be domain-based?
It's going to be domain-based, which is slightly different from how it is right now. The way it's set up right now is that in your Facebook ad account, you could go make, a couple of pixels. You could put them on whatever website you want. You could do pretty much anything with the pixels that you want. Now the pixel has to be assigned to a domain, and that domain has to be verified. So what this really means is that if you're driving, traffic, if you're running Facebook ads and driving traffic to like a third-party website, you don't really care about like seeing anything like as far as how many form fills or anything like that. No big deal. You just won't get that information going forward because it has to be tied to your domain. But if you are running anything as far as Facebook ads are concerned, and you want to see the conversions, you want to see like the purchases, it will affect you because you have to get your domain verified so you can create those 8 limits as far as the tracking goes.
Okay. All right. So you have to get your domain verified. I mean, what does that even mean? So
it's basically Facebook's way of providing advertisers and owners a way that they own the domain itself. That way it controls the people who are able to edit on your page, so there's no like some spammer comes on and maybe hacks your account and anything like that. Kind of controls that. It also helps prevent the misuse of the domain, helps stop misinformation, which is Facebook has a big push on as well. And it's relatively easy to set up as well once you know how to do it.
Okay. I think we're going to have a video for that as well. But do you want to explain how to do it?
Yeah, sure. So here's a quick video on how to do it.
To claim and verify a domain in Facebook is actually pretty simple. Here's how it works. Go to business.facebook.com, sign into your business manager. In the top left-hand corner, you'll see that there's Business Tools. Under Business Tools, click Business Settings. Once this page loads up, go down to Brand Safety, click on that, go to Domains, and then we're going to add a domain. In this example, we'll put example.com, add domain. Refresh the page if you have to. Next, what we'll do is we're going to log into our domain registrar and put this this verification code that Facebook gave us into the domain registrar. So in this case, it's GoDaddy. You go over to your DNS settings. In the DNS settings, we're going to add a TXT file. If it requires a host, simply put the @ symbol for the value. Put exactly what we just copied over from Facebook, and then we're going to click Save. And then we're going to return to Business Manager, and then we're going to click Verify. If you do the HTML file upload, very simple. All you have to do is upload the file to the root directory of your website, and then again, click Verify as far as that is concerned. For the meta tag verification, again, another simple process. You just add this tag to the HTML of your domain homepage, and then again, click Verify here. After verifying your domain, we're going to have to assign pages. That'll appear in the top right-hand corner, and you can also assign the overall partners by entering a partner ID in here as well.
So in the Settings tab in Business Manager, basically you're going to click on the Domains tab under the Brand Safety, the drop-down. You're going to click Add a Domain. The domain is added to your assets. Then you have to give permissions to partners or users who run ads for that domain. Very simple. You could do a DNS verification or an HTML file upload. Between the two of them, the DNS takes 30 seconds or less. So I think that's the easier way to do it. But you do have those two options to do it. And then once you're done with that, you have to make sure that you assign the pages to the domain and assign the partner or user to the domain as well. That way you have access to it.
Okay. Great. So there you have it. There's a lot of good information. I know we didn't take up a lot of your time, but I thought it was very important for us to talk about this, the privacy issues that are coming along with the new iOS 14 in Apple and how it's going to impact advertisers on the social media platforms, specifically Facebook and Instagram. Mark, anything else to add before we
if you need help verifying your domain, you want information on how this change is going to affect your Facebook ad accounts, you could reach out to us at sales@lseo.com, and we'll definitely be able to help you out.
All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. Again, if you know anybody, I was going to say business owners, but anybody doing ads on any of the social media platforms, make sure they're aware of this podcast, help them out. And if they need help from us, as Mark said, contact us. We're willing to help. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Beyond Local.